Supreme Court coming down heavily today in its observations against Srinivasan. In fact, asking details of shareholding of Srinivasan and his family in India Cements. The Supreme Court has added that they want to unravel the truth about who is the real owner of India Cements. Let's go across to Kishore Bhimani, who has been with us all through this news break. Mr. Bhimani, of course, the court is asking for the shareholding pattern of India Cements because N Srinivasan and his legal team have projected in the court that he is but a minority shareholder. But of course, the shareholding is something that we all know about. So this is again one more lie that Mr. Srinivasan has put out in the court to protect his position.
I'd like to submit something for those who might not be aware of shareholding patterns. No owner of a company, whether it be the Birlas, the Tatas, the Ambanis, they own 100% of the shares. They own a minority of shares, but they have what is known as controlling interest. Now, in this particular case, what has happened is that Mr. Srinivasan, as MD, as shareholder, has a controlling interest of the company. India Cements is equated with Mr. Narayanaswamy Srinivasan. His son-in-law, Gurunath Mayappan, is also, whether he is a shareholder or not, he is an officer of the company as a vice president. So is Mr. Mahendra Singh Dhoni. What the court, honorable court, is obviously trying to determine is the shareholding, that who makes the decisions, and whether these decisions affect anything in the pattern of functioning of the Chennai Super Kings.
It's almost directed the BCCI virtually to go ahead with elections with keeping out those whose name has been tainted. Now, let's bring in our reporters. We've got Aditya as well as Shabir with us.
The strange fact remains that the BCCI and N Srinivasan are completely silent on these latest observations of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has spoken on different levels, on different points in this entire game of conflict of interest. It has said that it is almost clear that there is conflict of interest. In no two words, it has communicated to N Srinivasan that he should not expect that there is a complete clean chit that has been given to him according to the Justice Modigal Committee's report. And also talking about the elections, as you asked me, it does convey that the elections which were slated to be held on 30th of September should be held now. There is no directions as per the court that elections should not happen. The BCCI election should very much happen. And the important fact that the court mentions is that those people who have a question mark, now this includes N Srinivasan as well, who was actually sticking to that power center of the president of the BCCI, saying that he, and including all those people who have a question mark, will not and shall not contest these elections. This is not a directive or a stricture by the Supreme Court. It's an observation which has been made at this moment.
Mr. Modi, good afternoon. This is Anand Narasimhan here. Thanks for talking to us yet again. You have put out some tweets and you are following the observations and what's happening in the Supreme Court. Your first take on what is happening, because the conflict of interest issue has been questioned. It's been the focal point of all discussion early morning.
I think the Supreme Court has rightfully said that anybody and everybody who is involved in the Mudgal report must not be involved with cricket going forward. I think that's the right thing. They further have mentioned, I'm told, that no further reports or no further investigation is to be done, and rightfully so. Years and years and years have gone by. Under the supervision of the Supreme Court, Justice Mudgal has done a conclusive report, and there is no reason for another report to be done. I think that would be just whitewashing the whole report and burying the current report. I think the implementation of the report is the order of the day, and I think the Supreme Court has done the right thing by ensuring that the report should be implemented, and this is a great day for cricket fans around the world.
True, but Mr. Modi, they also questioned who cleared this conflict of interest. How was it allowed in the first place? And it goes back to 2008.
Keep in mind, it was, yes, cleared at that time when I was the head, but keep in mind that we make mistakes, and I've been saying that, and from the day that happened, the minute we realized that the conflict of interest was coming as an issue, we said we should do away with it. And that's when the problem began. In 2009, when I raised the issue up for the Empire posting, which Mr. Srinivasan has changed around in South Africa, that's when the difference of opinion began. We did not expect, when we conceived the league, that we would look into all the future problems. Yes, problems arose. Our objective was to clear them. And when I started to voice my issues about clearing those issues, that's when they wanted to remove me, and they were happy in removing me. Yes, only an organization cannot foresee 10 years ahead, 5 years ahead. It can foresee what they have to do now. If we make a mistake, we must correct it and move on. And that's what I've been saying for the last 5 years now.
But Mr. Modi, you have said that it was a mistake, perhaps an accident waiting to happen that was ratified by the working committee, and you have accepted that.
Maybe so. But point is that you move on, you correct it and move on. You can't predict. Nobody had predicted a league of this standard, this magnitude. Nobody had predicted that the team will be so successful. Nobody had predicted the tournament will become so big. But if it did, and there was a problem, in my time we used to correct it and move on. When we had a problem with players, we corrected it and move on. And when we conceived the auction, nobody had even thought about it. I conceived the auction process. It was the first time in history of the world we actually did a player auction, and it worked. But there are certain things that didn't work. So we wanted to correct them, and we got to correct them and move on. In life, you've got to accept that something is wrong, and you've got to correct it and move on. You can't keep battling and saying, oh, but you did this, but you did this. Yes, we did it with the right intention, and if the intention went wrong, let's correct it and move on.